Hello, good evening. This is Lilou. Welcome to my soul sessions. Tonight I have Sonia Choquette. You know, it's one of my favorites. She's definitely an amazing spiritual teacher, one of the leaders out there. She speaks from the heart, totally inspires us, inspiring millions of people all around the world with her New York bestsellers, seminars. She's part of A House, and today we're going to discuss about soulmates. We're going to discuss more on the spiritual side of soulmates and what is really soulmate and how we can meet our soulmate. So if you're interested about this subject, then stay tuned and enjoy this beautiful, loving human being as she shared with us her knowledge and wisdom that she's directly pouring from the universe. Here is Sonia. Oh, good evening, Sonia.
Hi, Lilou. Hi, Lilou fans.
And Sonia fans, because let me tell you, we all love your teachings and we love your energy. And for us, you're definitely one of the leaders out there, inspiring us and living in the heart and being such a true example of what it is to be spirits, fully live your spirit, your sixth sense, as you call it. So thank you for being such a great example.
Well, that's my purpose. It's my joy.
Clearly, clearly.
Joy.
And today I wanted to especially speak with you about soulmates and more than just the relationship and the love, all this, but more the spiritual aspect of soulmates.
I was glad you asked me because it's one of my favorite subjects. And people confuse soulmates with the prince or the princess on the horse, and they adhere still to some of the old patriarchal visions of when I just meet the right person, all my dreams come true. And it's not quite that way. That's not what soulmates are at all about. They're basically divine appointments with people, and more than one, who remind you of your soul plan, who activate your most authentic self, and who challenge you to grow your soul the most. So they're not necessarily life mates. They're not necessarily housemates. They're not necessarily worldly partners. And that's why often people will connect with someone that is, in fact, a soulmate, and they'll say, why didn't it work out? Why didn't we get married and have kids and live happily ever after? But that's not the agreements that soulmates have with you.
So what
And
kind of agreement are we talking about? Is that a previous agreement that we have before we come on this planet?
yeah, our soulmates are people who are part of our soul tribe who resonate to the same frequency, who share the same soul goals, and who remind us to grow. They get us, they see us, and they have the ability to invite us to grow in a way that we don't block. Whereas, say, a life mate pushes your every last button and you want to strangle them, a soulmate might be able to come in and say, this pattern that you have is really blocking your growth, or this perception you hold, or this blind spot, and you can hear it. You actually can hear it without going into massive denial or defense. So that's one indication that person is functioning for you as a soulmate. And when you're in the company of a soulmate, you feel very expansive. You move out of your intellectual identity and you connect to your soul identity. So you do feel expanded and light and liberated and filled with excitement and exuberance. And it's not that they necessarily have anything to do with that, but they activate that experience within you. And so the idea is to keep yourself in that experience and not depend on them to have the experience. They're just like someone who points out that you can have the experience of your expanded self. So we get very attached sometimes to our soulmates and begin to erroneously believe that we need them
Yeah.
to to be expanded, when in fact we don't. They're just there to remind us to be expanded.
But
So that's it.
how about if one of the two is attracted to the other one? I mean, how can you not want more with this person when there is already tremendous dimension there that is absolutely amazing?
Well, we have that attraction in place because that's how human beings are taught to connect. Our model of love is primarily sexual love. So initially, the attractions are going to be physical and sexual, but that's only because that's our language as human beings. And often, it's very often the case that when you attract a soulmate, that person is not even available in the traditional sense of the word. You'll find that very much the case, that they're often married or in a significant other partnership, or they've taken a vow to a path that makes them unavailable to a traditional kind of commitment, because soulmates are not interested in traditional commitments. They're just interested in activating the growth of the soul. Now, that's not to say some of these relationships don't work out to be beautiful primary partnerships, but even in that case, they're only part-time. They're only sometimes people who get married to one another. And it's because the soul is not involved in our conventional social paradigms, marriage being one of them. They're just really interested in our growth. So, sexual compatibility activates the upper chakras, it activates the kundalini. Truly compatible sexual partnering opens the heart, but it's not to stay there, it's just to be the catalyst. So, it can be quite a confusing interaction for people.
Yeah, especially
And
since the spiritual and the sexual energy is kind of a lot similar sometimes. So there could
yeah,
be
very.
this amazing attraction.
What you want to watch for is that you don't get attached and try to control it. It's one of the biggest challenges for us as human beings in personal relationship, is that we want to glom on, and we want to own it, and we want to call it our own. And those possessive frequencies are born of the ego and born out of fear. So often you might meet someone that is in fact a soulmate vibration. You have this incredible expanded experience, and then it breaks up and you're heartbroken. But it's an invitation to move past conditional love
Yeah.
and to move into unconditional love, which is one of our hardest soul lessons. So soulmates challenge us, and sometimes to a heartbreaking place. And it's definitely part of the deal.
But I hear
And
I hear there's a lot too of just it being natural and it just happens. Our soulmate helps us to grow. So is that really something? Can you get to a point of heartbreaking, or would you go through that? Is it just for a particular moment in time, or can it be a lifetime no matter what, really?
well, I know that soulmates are people you hold in your heart and you connect on an intimate level forever. What breaks your heart is sometimes the way that you are in each other's life is not what you want or ideally aspire to. They might be in your heart, but they might not be in your life the way. Sometimes they are, but a lot of times they aren't. So I really want to present to people to consider breaking down the paradigms of how we see people have to be in our life.
Yeah.
A soulmate is someone you love unconditionally and who you know in your heart and soul loves you unconditionally, but not possessively, not traditionally. So you may have to just accept. I know many married people who have soulmates that are not their married partner, that their married partner is their life partner, their partner with children, and their soulmate may live across town or across the world, but when they connect, their souls speak the same language, their hearts open, they expand, they have a blissful interaction that is just not comparable to their worldly commitment, and they need both. This is
Mm.
something that is pretty controversial, but it's like very different channels. You need both.
So you would have
And
a physical partner as this physical body and a soul partner.
mm-hmm. And there's a lot of
and it can be both. It's not actually a betrayal to the life partner.
well, I do think that sexuality should be
Without sexuality mentioned, like
well,
without
I think
that.
that we can love more than one person in a whole complete way. And I actually think that that's one of our goals as human beings in evolution is to begin to learn to love fully more than one person.
Mm.
But mostly, soulmates are in our lives to help us love ourselves fully. And if we can begin to perceive and view ourselves in a more loving light in the presence of another, that is a soulmate who's serving a great purpose for us. And as we fill ourselves up with self love, the voids that we feel, the emptiness, the abandonments we feel, heal. They begin to resolve. And so we don't feel the need to cling or attach to others and control. And that's how we learn to love freely and unconditionally.
Do you have any particular recommendations to start loving unconditionally
Yes, I
ourselves?
think the most important thing is to begin to define yourself as the breath of life that's in you. That breath of life is divine. You are a keeper of a holy light. That holy light gives you life, gives you consciousness, gives you the ability to create. It is a magnificent and glorious thing to embrace and to accept as your core self, and to begin to enjoy, take joy in that light, take joy in the fact that you are alive, not look at what you do, but who you are, no matter what you do, as this divine experiment in human form, and begin to see that same light in everyone else, and that same experiment going on in everyone else. Some having a better experiment than others, and various times a better experiment. So the idea that there's something missing begins to reduce, and that you fill yourself up with this light, and remember nothing's missing. And that if your life is feeling lack, it's lack of awareness, lack of imagination, lack of clear perception, but not lack of possibility for love. That's there always. That's the beginning, and that will attract soulmates and allow you to become a soulmate to others.
Mm. And when we want to attract a life partner, what are some of the things that we should be really looking at then? Because Gay Henricks yesterday that I was interviewing really mentioned that once he decided to attract an honest, creative, because for him creativity was very important, like another creative person that would grow with him, and also another person that is being responsible, then his wife Katie showed up and now they're doing work together. So it's absolutely this fascinating story.
I
um,
think that the key for us to attract a person in our lives is to be very clear about our own intentions, especially to recognize that patriarchy is ending, and that we can no longer expect partners to come in and take care of us like surrogate parents, that we begin to take full responsibility for our lives and the creativity and the experience that we want to have in our lives, and that we look for a partner who will collaborate, who will share our goals, who will serve as incentive for us to be more of who we are, more responsible, more self-loving, more creative, more present. I think if that's your intention, you'll find your ability to attract someone willing to participate in that expression comes pretty quickly. If your intention is, oh, I'm not feeling fulfilled, I want someone to fill my well, I want someone I feel insecure, I want someone to take care of me financially, or I'm feeling inadequate, I want someone to make me feel important, I think you're going to have trouble, because the universe isn't supporting those illusions. So if you can just say, look, I just want to, I want to love my life, and I want to be in love with my life, and I want someone to share love of life with me, I think that you're going to find that the obstacles give way to some real connections.
Hmm. And twin flames, just to make sure, are you, because we hear soulmate twin flames is
They're
should we look at
interesting. It's
that?
like Yeah, we could look at it real quickly. A twin flame, unlike a soulmate, is someone who really is your other self, your other half, your expression of who you are in another body. And it doesn't even have to be another gender, because we can have twin flames of the same gender. And these are just people who are living out your experience with you simultaneously, and you feed one another life lessons and revelations as you journey through life together. So twin flames are very exciting. As conscious human beings, we're just really bringing all of this information back to light, because we've been so ego identified that all of this seems a bit esoteric and a bit adventurous and fantastical. But as we begin to remember, we are spirit beings, unlimited spirit beings, so we can have these unlimited spiritual experiences with other spirit beings. It doesn't seem so unlikely. It starts to make sense, but it won't make sense if you're perceiving it through the window or the paradigm of the ego, or sort of an infantile, oh, somebody's going to come in and make my life work for me. That's not what it's about. But there is a soul flame. There's a frequency, and we call them flames because the spirit is a flame.
Yeah.
It's like divine fire. So it's someone who shares the divine fire. It's like if you look in a fireplace and ever watch a flame split. It's the same flame now operating in two frequencies. And that's a good way to understand a twin flame. Look in a fireplace, watch a flame split, and then you can understand that we as individuals have these same frequencies. It's all very exciting. It stretches the imagination a bit, but that's what we are to do right now.
Lovely, lovely. And is there some particular a practice that you recommend to, or rituals to bring our to attract our life partner in our lives, or
Well,
so, or
make it
soulmates, whatever we want to attract? Is there some particular things we can do?
yeah, make a distinction. A life partner is different than a soulmate. A life partner is someone that you will set up the daily world with, who you'll live in and day out, and maybe if it's your goal or interest to raise children or co-parent children you already have. And to set that life partner up, you have to get very clear about your willingness to be involved with someone, to stay in the fire, we have relationships to help us become more self-aware of our own blocks and our own patterns and negativity. So the more willing you are to be honest and willing to lovingly look at yourself, and you say, okay, I'm ready. I don't need to play hide and seek anymore with my own obstacles, and I'm really ready to go for this, then the life partner will come. If you're afraid, I don't want to be hurt, I don't want to feel bad about myself, I don't want to be uncomfortable, I just want to be adored. Well, those are very immature goals. And so that will prevent the connections from happening. If you're ready to be responsible and mature and look at yourself with love in your eyes and a real willingness to look, well, that's a pattern I've inherited or I've carried over that's blocking who I am. And of course, I'm open to someone helping me become aware of that. Then relationship will quickly show up in your life, because it's the greatest spiritual path.
Mm.
It's the most. It's the most um, um, radical way. The most effective way to grow the soul very quickly. The most effective way to grow the soul very, very quickly. So
Mm.
the universe will accommodate. If you're willing to grow your soul, the universe will accommodate.
Super. And do you have a particular book that you wrote that I know you wrote my the heart our heart's desires? Is
I
there
think the
one
book that
particular
would
one?
I think that the book that would help us best understand relational and spiritual growth is my book, The Diary of a Psychic,
Hmm.
which I take you through the evolution of my own learning and introduce you to my teachers and my guides and how they taught me about these things. And as you see my journey, you connect with your own. That's the response, is that you begin to remember your own journey, your own teachers, your own direct download from the higher self. And I think that's the best teacher of all. So I'd recommend The Diary of a Psychic.
Yeah, because we have a tendency to always seek outside when what you're really teaching us is look inside. You have that capability, you have the answers.
Well, in intuition, the definition means inner teacher. So,
Mm.
Diary of a Psychic especially encourages you to make a direct contact and form a strong relationship with your inner teacher, which is your higher self.
Mm.
So, and that's where you get all the guidance. You don't have to organize it in your mind. It comes as you flow, as you go.
And from the heart.
So that's, yeah, so soulmate, soul family, twin flames, kindred spirits. The point is that to know in your heart and soul that you're never alone. You are loved and part of something greater than your own fears and your own ego. You are loved and beloved and treasured beyond belief. And that's what we're all here to learn.
Mm. Well, thank you for being a great teacher and pointing out our inner teacher, Sonia.
Yes.
Very,
My,
very insightful. Thank you.
all my love.
All my
Bye.
love back. Thank you.